Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Marcus White.
And my name is Nick Cavalli.
And we welcome you to the Wrevolution. This is, of course, the Wednesday Night Wars, AEW versus NXT episode, whatever episode this is.
13. It is 13. I
13.
finally am up to count. I promise.
Hey, there you go.
By that, I mean, let me go double check on my phone while you continue to talk.
So, yes, of course, tonight we are going to talk about this week's episodes of NXT and All Elite Wrestling's Dynamite. And we're going to kick things off with NXT this week. Once again, we actually got a real episode of NXT, none of that recap crap. Although there was one part of the show where they did, like, a little teeny part where they did a little bit of recap. But
the same amount AEW did.
Yeah, so not like, it wasn't bad. So we're going to kick things off with NXT, and we found out that the announce team for this week's episode is Tom Phillips and Sam Roberts. My boy, shout out to a fellow YouTuber, Sam Roberts. What a guy. That was...
Stop.
What?
Oh my god. I couldn't get through the night.
I loved Sam Roberts on commentary. He was
Shout out to my mom, since the season 2 premiere of Dark Side of the Ring, has slowly been inching her way into, like, little bits and pieces, snippets of pro wrestling, if you will. So I sat down last night to watch it, and she's like, "Oh, you go ahead. I'll just sit here." And I turned on the TV, and we're watching NXT, and she goes, "Oh God, who the hell's voice is that?" Yeah, same, Mom.
I loved Sam Roberts. He brought a different atmosphere to the show. He was witty. He was charismatic. I liked the guy. I thought it was
very nasally.
We can make fun of the guy for his voice, but he did I think you're kind of funny sounded, but that doesn't change the fact that I love having you on the show every week. No, I thought he did a great job, regardless of how overly nasally he is. He did a good job. I definitely like him more than some of the other people we've had, like Byron Saxton, or I could always rip on Beth Phoenix some more. So I definitely enjoyed. I thought this was definitely the best iteration of that like random duo they've been throwing on NXT every week.
He's better than Tony Schiavone.
Yeah.
We found that out this week.
Yeah. Which, wow. But, so we kick things off with Velveteen Dream versus Bobby Fish. So this is the first of the gauntlet that Velveteen Dream has to go to earn his opportunity at a match, I would presume, against Adam Cole. And I didn't know what to think going into this match, but it was good. I knew it was going to be a technical masterpiece. It was really good though. I liked it.
It was better than I anticipated it being. Maybe this is me, and I have the whole thing about single stars and tag teams. I don't really love guys who have been tag team specialists their whole careers fighting singles matches. It's just,
but
I don't know.
It's completely different when it's the fact that it's someone like Bobby Fish who's in a stable fighting for his stable.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
It's the same thing when like Matt or Nick Jackson fight singles matches on the behalf of the Elite. Like it's the same thing.
Yeah, and I feel weird about those. I don't know. Maybe it's because I always see them like. My best example is when Santana or Ortiz would take on Moxley, and I'm like, I don't know what your finisher is. I have no idea what any of your finishing moves are because you just do tag team finishers. That's what you do. You are tag team. The match was a lot better than I anticipated. It's just, it's hard for me, Mr. Tag Team Purist, to get over Bobby Fish in a singles match, but he did really well.
No,
he definitely showed up.
I mean, if you know anything about Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, I mean, on the indie scene before they were a tag team, they were fantastic singles competitors in their own right. So I loved seeing Bobby Fish in this match against Velveteen Dream tonight. I thought Dream looked very strong. He was like took his eye off the ball a couple times, to showboat to the non-existent crowd. I guess you could say it was mind games trying to get into the head of Bobby Fish, but once he like settled down and got serious, like you could tell he was locked in, and it was an enjoyable fight. Velveteen looked strong. Bobby Fish held his own, but in the end, it is Velveteen Dream with the Dream Valley Driver for the win. There was a lot of smack talk in this match too, like they were going back and forth. At one point, Velveteen called Bobby an old man, so. Which is, he has been in the business for a while, so I mean,
but he's not.
He's not old, but I mean, I guess compared to Velveteen, who's like in his early 20s, so I mean, we get a interview with Malcolm Bivens, the MVP clone that I thought was MVP last week, and
I have to say, is it just me or are his eyes just terrifying?
They're gigantic.
When he looks at the camera and he's like.
Yeah, they're
Broserweights. We coming for you.
Yeah, he's a big boy in terms of his eyes, at least. And we finally get the name of that mysterious duo that attacked Matt Riddle a couple weeks ago, and that's Rinku and Sarif. I hope I'm saying those names right. We find out the name of the stable is the Vivens Enterprise. And going forward, they're going to be looking to challenging the Broserweights for the NXT tag titles. So, obviously, a little while before that happens, they're going to have to show us what they got in the ring, win a couple matches, and probably win a lot of matches. Because, if again, what I said holds up, is the fact that they just did not look good in that attack of Matt Riddle. But again, they could prove me wrong. I don't know. So, only time will tell.
This is WWE. They could just throw them into the championship picture.
And to be fair, look at how long Authors of Pain were on the roster before they won their first tag team titles in NXT. But they also improved like significantly over the course of those couple months. So if these two have the ceiling that Authors of Pain have and they're able to improve dramatically throughout a short period of time, then I don't mind them getting the rocket ship strapped to them. It's just as long as they show that they're worth it. And they're like, at least Authors of Pain, by the end, they were having like fantastic matches with the likes of DIY and the Revival. Right now, I don't see these guys having those kinds of matches, so we definitely got to see what that.
I don't see them having those kinds of matches with the Bucks or the Usos.
So we'll see. But next we get Dexter Lumis versus Jake Atlas. This is your fault, by the way. You want to know why? You're the guy who was like, NXT should be using this time to do development matches and push the younger talent. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what we got tonight. Courtesy of one Nicholas Cavalli. You're welcome.
I meant instead of 2 hours of promos. I don't want 2 hours of promos and no matches. If you're going to do 2 hours of promos, do an hour and 45 minutes and give me Jake Atlas and Dexter Lumis in the extra 15 minutes. Not put them in the middle of basically a takeover card.
Yeah, I didn't.
What is wrong with you?
Now, here's the thing. Dexter Lumis is a character. Let's talk about this guy. He's a tall fellow. This is what happens when you try to force a gimmick on somebody. So you know how we immediately talked about how Malcolm Bivens has those terrifying eyes? This is WWE trying to force the he has scary eyes thing on Dexter Lumis, kind of like what they tried to do with Luke Harper. When they were like, look at his eyes, they're terrifying, they're big and wide. I mean, my God, if I had to hear Tom Phillips mention one more time, has he blinked yet? I don't think he blinked. He hasn't blinked. It's like, I don't effing care that he didn't blink, okay? What's he doing in the ring? He's barely holding his own with Jake frickin' Atlas, and I'm supposed to be terrified of this guy? Like, come on.
If you want to sell somebody on somebody who has scary eyes, A, Malcolm Bivens, B, I don't know, Ilya Dragunov? Nah. Dexter
Lumis. Why does he have scary eyes? Because he doesn't blink. I mean, I will admit, he's kind of a creepy fellow. I mean, he comes out. I mean, if anyone's ever seen the TV show Dexter, like, he's got the gloves and the pants. Like, he's a disturbing looking fellow in terms of, like, the whole attire he's got going on. And even, like, the weird, creepy mustache he's got. I didn't like that. He's just giving...
he creeps me.
Yeah, he's giving me a vibe, but... I mean,
Not the kind of vibe that I was hoping to get.
no, I didn't like that at all. So yeah, Loomis wins with a side. So Loomis wins with a side slam into a submission, and then we get another one of those weird like Titantron promo package things that have been happening more and more these last couple weeks.
I can only assume is Killer Croc. Please pay off someone.
Yeah, we can only assume eventually that's what that's going to be. I hope at least. I don't know who else it could be, so we'll see. And then this is what we were talking about earlier, which is the
Gronk.
I'm sorry?
It's gonna be the debut of Gronk.
The Gronk.
Right, go ahead.
This is what we talked about earlier. It's where they re-showed the Ciampa and Gargano brawl, and I mean it was like the whole brawl essentially they showed. So that was kind of annoying, but it's not horrible. It's just kind of like how we saw on Dynamite later on, they showed pretty much the whole Matt Hardy Jericho promo. So it was like, I get it. It's something big like that. You want to like be like, hey, here's this, but I mean, whatever. But now we get into.
I have an apology to make here. So, the next match is the women's gauntlet match. This is the first point where my mom puts down her iPad and finally sits down and watches with me. And she is introduced to pro wrestling with none other than Shotzi Blackheart and Deonna Purrazzo. That's how you make fans for life, boys.
This is the moment when I decided that NXT was gonna have to fight to like keep my attention, because my God, Shotzi Blackheart and Deonna Purrazzo. Now, to Shotzi's credit, she did not look bad tonight. That is all to her credit.
The best part, the most important thing I can say about this match is, it made me invested in whoever was coming in the ring.
Yes.
Because I wanted her gone so bad.
So
I rooted for Xia Li and Aaliyah.
Yeah, so this is a 6-woman gauntlet match. It's the last chance qualifier to get in that that number one contenders ladder match. So it starts off with.
The match was decided before it even started, by the way.
So Shotzi starts off with Deonna. She ends up hitting a senton for the pin over Purrazzo. Next in the ring comes Xia Li, and Shotzi she made Xia Li tap.
Submission thing.
Yeah, she made Xia freaking Li tap. So I'm already like somewhat annoyed at this point. I'm like, come on, somebody get her out of here. Again, I gave her props that she looked good. That's all I'm gonna tell her is that she looked fine all night. Going forward, I hated everything about this. Aaliyah comes in, makes Aaliyah tap. Then comes Kaden Carter, who we just saw performing on Monday Night Raw, and she hits a senton for a pin on Kaden Carter. And at this point, I'm just like, please, God, end my pain. By the way, this match was long. I'm going through this fast, but this was it's a gauntlet match, and they wanted to make sure every competitor that came in got their licks in and made a strong showing, and they did.
Really wanted to make sure that Shotzi Blackheart was on your screen for 35 minutes.
Yes, this was a long match. Shotzi looked very strong. I will say, mission accomplished if your goal was to make Shotzi Blackheart look strong and get her over by way of forcing her down our throat. You did it, in the fact that...
Yeah, you gave her the John Cena push.
Yeah, you made her look strong. You made me give her some props. So you get a gold star for that. But other than that, you also made me almost turn off NXT because I was just getting more and more frustrated the more she picked up victories. When she beat Kaden Carter, I was just like, oh, okay, please. Dakota, come on in. End it, please.
My mom's like, wow, you don't really like that girl, do you? I was like, no, not at all. And then I was like, but the next girl is going to win the match. She goes, how do you know? I was like, it's a really long story. But her best friend, who's not her best friend anymore, is already in the other match that they're qualifying for. So she's gonna win. Like that's just how it's gonna work.
And again, recognizing the fact that we're probably one of the too few people on the internet that actually hate Shotzi Blackheart. So for the rest of the IWC, you guys probably love this whole match, and you're probably wondering what the hell is wrong with us. But I just...
And I'm just here like...
Yeah, I hated everything about this. Thankfully, Dakota wins with a strong kick for the victory. So Dakota Kai, as we all expected, is going to be moving on into the number one contenders ladder match. So
see, I feel dirty. I feel very dirty because every time I see her in the ring, I like Capcota more and more. And as a Tegan Nox fan, I shouldn't. I should hate her. I should want her to die. I should want her face grated with a cheese grater. And every time I see her in the ring, I'm like, okay, respect.
You know, to be honest, Dakota Kai has done more to impress me in recent months than Tegan Nox has done. And that's, yeah.
Tegan's not had her best matches the last couple months.
To be fair, some of those matches have been against Dakota Kai.
And additionally, to be fair, she's back for the first time in what, like 3 years that she's been back in full-time action?
Yeah, I mean, you have to understand Dakota Kai, though, is also coming off a similar injury, so...
Yeah, except Dakota Kai's injury happened 2 years ago, and she's been in action almost consistently since.
Yeah, but they came back, like, what, a week apart? So, 2 years, 3 years, I mean, when you have an injury that lasts that long, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
tack on the extra year, so...
The ring rust is still bad.
Yeah.
But good on both.
Excuses for your girl, that's all I hear. So...
I mean, do you expect any less?
So next we get Kushida versus Joaquin Wilde, and props to Joaquin for actually putting on a pretty decent match. You knew Kushida was going to do Kushida things because he's amazing in the ring, but Joaquin actually made this match watchable, I'm not going to lie. I came into this expecting, Kushida's just going to squash him, but they told Joaquin before this match started, hey kid, go out there and show us what you got. We're going to give you like 15 minutes, have fun, and props to him. He actually did a really good job. So it made me want to see more as long as he, eventually changes that cringy gimmick, but I'm impressed.
See, this is the thing that worries me. I was getting the idea that this was more a result of it being Kushida being his opponent, like Finn Balor talked about in his promo. Well, Bobby Lashley had the best match of his career. Yeah, because he was facing Finn Balor. Is it because of who he's facing kind of thing? I have to see something with somebody else, because Kushida is...
But here's the thing though, we haven't seen much of Joaquin Wilde, and what we have, it was like one tag team match, and then I think they were both tag team matches actually, what we saw of them, so
we saw a singles match.
We did see one singles match, but
it was a squash.
Yeah, so I can't judge him off of that, and then a match with Kushida, and even though, good wrestlers can carry bad wrestlers to decent matches, this wasn't a decent match. This was a good match. So, and again, to Finn Balor's point, Bobby Lashley's not a bad wrestler at all. So, it's not like he's carrying Bobby Lashley to a good match. If you've ever seen Bobby Lashley, when they let the handcuffs off and you actually let him go, he's a really good wrestler. He's like Brock Lesnar. He's amazing. So,
I'm aware. I'm saying for a wrestler the status of Kushida, somebody like Kushida, somebody like Finn Balor, can take people to a higher platform. I'm not saying Bobby Lashley is as good as Joaquin Wilde, because Joaquin Wilde is trashed here right now. Maybe better. We don't know.
Here's the thing. But for what we saw this week, I'd say he's not trashed here. I mean, again, yes, Kushida can Again, a good wrestler can carry a bad wrestler to a decent match, but this wasn't decent. This was a good match. So I would say takes. I like to go by the motto. I mean, that's what Finn Balor said, but there's always. You ever listen to what Shawn Michaels used to say? He would say, people always say that I I'm able to like have amazing matches with anybody, but it takes two to tango. You throw me in someone that doesn't know what they're doing. I mean, I can only have so good of a match. So
Right. I mean, hey, I'd rather see Joaquin Wilde than Cameron Grimes. So
let's not go that far. But after the match, they shake hands, show of respect between the two men, and then Joaquin gets abducted. Or I would say gets kind of gently told to get in the car and then drives away. Because it wasn't like what happened with, God, what's his name? I can't even remember his name.
I know what you're thinking of. I forgot. It was a Latino superstar from last week, right?
Yeah, I
Or
can't.
2 weeks ago, whatever. I can't
remember his name, but it wasn't like what happened with him when they like beat him down and threw him in the car. Like this was just kind of like they like two guys get out the vehicle and like, hey, come with us, and he's just like, okay, cool. Yeah. So he didn't even put up a fight. He was just like, I bet. So that was a little weak. Hopefully it actually pays off to something, but yeah, whatever. And then finally we get the main event of the night, and that is the triple threat match for the North American Championship. It's Dominic Dijakovic versus Damian Priest versus Keith Lee. And I just want to start by saying this. I'm sorry?
It's Dominic Dijakovic.
Yes, you have to put the Morrow aggressiveness on it. But first I need to say, the more I see of Damian Priest, the more I like of him. He impresses me every time I see him in the ring. I don't know why I've gotten this like stigma of like, oh, I don't know. Like I hear the name Damian Priest and I go, eh. And then every time I watch him, I go, why did I think that? Like I don't know what it is. It's a weird feeling. Like he impresses me every time I see him, but then as soon as I stop seeing him, I just go, whatever. So it's weird.
He has grown on me. To say grown on me, I'm probably doing a disservice because he is a fantastic wrestler, but he has certainly grown on me.
He has one of the coolest entrances in NXT. I will say that. With like
I would agree with that.
Like the Matt Hardy teleportation on the stage. But what I noticed for this match is that, first of all, they had the TakeOver logo on the Titantron in the background going throughout the entire match, so they're recognizing the fact that this would have been a TakeOver match. And then also they had, when the announcer was giving the introductions for each wrestler in the ring, they had a new name card for specifically for this title match. So this card includes the height, weight, reach, and the styles of each wrestler that's in the ring. So I thought that was really cool. It gives that legitimate atmosphere to championship matches, almost like you're watching a real fight. So I like that. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I thought it was really important for them to bring that kind of that aspect of athleticism or sport, I guess would be the best word, into the mix. I think it's a great idea. I'd love to see it going forward, especially for championship matches. I mean, I've spoke about it in the past when we talked about the weigh-in at AEW and the card announcement and all that stuff. I think for major championship matches, I think that's a really good idea going forward to continue with that.
Especially the fact that you've got the caliber of athlete that's standing in that ring, the mass of bodies. I mean, these are three of the largest competitors, not just in NXT, but in WWE. You're talking about some big boys, and they can move. I mean, my God, the average height of that match was like over, 6'4", 6'5", and all of them near 300 pounds, Keith Lee being the exception in the fact that he's over 300 pounds. Like, he's, 340, 350? So
the average height in the match being 6'4", 6'5", or in your words, 7'5".
Look, I was just pulling the WWE. He's 7'11", 600 pounds. So that's that, like, standard over-exaggeration. But this match was fantastic. It kicked off with a triple kick spot, all three men landing a kick, sending each other flying. When I saw Keith Lee attempt that spinning heel kick, I almost leaped out of my couch. I was like, what? And this stuff shouldn't surprise me anymore, but it always catches me off guard. There was one point where Keith Lee was on top of Dominik Dijakovic's shoulders, and from the top rope, Damian Priest hits a spinning heel kick, and all three men collapse in the center of the ring. There's another point where Damian Priest hits a tope con hero to Dominik Dijakovic and Keith Lee, but I kind of got concerned because the landing was horrible. He basically didn't connect. In more better terms, he kind of bounced off of them, and he landed flat-backed on the outside of the ring. Like, you heard the smack. It was a terrible fall. It was like that Montez Ford spot from Raw. Like, I was just, I was gonna say, if you haven't seen that, if you're squeamish, maybe don't watch it, but ow, by the way. So it kind of reminded me of that. I was hoping Damian was okay, and I mean, looking at the way the match went, he seemed to be just fine because he was still doing crazy stuff later on in the match. We saw Keith Lee, which this was the most absurd spot. Keith Lee catches Damian Priest, who got tossed by Dijakovic, uses him as a battering ram into Dijakovic, and then as Dominic's just kind of like laying prone on the mat, starts power bombing him multiple times on the back of Dijakovic over and over again, and then hits a spirit bomb for the 1, 2, and Dijakovic broke it up. So I thought, to be honest, I thought that was the match. I thought that was a perfect spot to end the match on, but then we wouldn't have got what we got at the end, which adds a little bit more to the it was beautiful. It was a beautiful spot. So we get Damian Priest going outside, grabbing the nightstick. He intends to use it. It is a triple threat match, so no disqualifications. He goes to hit Dijakovic with the nightstick, but Dijakovic reverses it into the Feast Your Eyes. However, his knee connects with the nightstick. After that happens, Lee ends up sending Damian Priest flying to the outside of the ring, just shoves him out of the ring, and then he hits the Big Bang Catastrophe on Dijakovic for the win. So, wow, I'm glad that the match didn't end where I thought it was going to end, because then we wouldn't have got that amazing ending. Keith Lee retained the North American title, and I don't believe that this feud is over, because they set it up to where you could definitely go further with this if they choose to.
No, we all know that Lee and Dijakovic, it's fight forever. It is the next, I don't want to say Gargano Ciampa, but
the big boy version.
The next Gargano Ciampa.
Yeah.
Except, a foot taller. This is going to be one of those fight forever style rivalries. Like, you never want to, like, when I hear that Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic are going at it, I want to tune in.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what I'm doing. I want to make sure I'm there that Wednesday night to watch Keith Lee and Double D take it to the ground. And,
excuse me, what this match sets up is it sets up a couple of things. One, it sets up the fact that Dijakovic can claim after, like, a couple weeks from now, he can go, well, you only beat me because Damian Priest brought in a weapon. My knee was injured from a weapon. That's how you got the advantage on me. So I want my rematch. And then Damian Priest, of course, can claim you didn't pin me, so you didn't beat me. So I want my rematch. So you can go either direction, or you could do a rematch triple threat. To be honest, I don't care either way, because I'll take it again. So
add a fourth man to the mix.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't know.
Who do we want? Killian Dane?
I was gonna say, yeah, you can throw in Killian Dane if you want. Just all the mass of humanity, just all in that one ring. I don't know if they're
unnecessarily athletic too.
I don't know if the ring could hold all four men. That's get one of those like extra supported rings, because my God,
this ring has been reinforced for this matchup.
Yeah, seriously though. So overall, NXT solid show this week. There was only one part, and you know what part it was. We addressed it earlier. That made me go, why? But even then, I can't let my bias show in the fact that it wasn't bad. It was just the fact that I don't personally like her. But it wasn't bad. So, overall, NXT, good show this week. What is your match of the night, my friend?
Oh, come on. Triple threat.
Yeah, it's gotta be. It's the triple threat match for the North American title. All three men did fantastic, served their roles perfectly. What about your MVP?
Jake Atlas. I'm kidding. I'm definitely kidding. Jesus Christ. Keith Lee. Just how could it not be Keith Lee?
All right, so I'm not gonna do what WWE wants us to do, and that's Shotzi Blackheart, right? Shotzi Blackheart. Because
the girl with the green hair, damn it.
I'm not gonna
That's good shit.
If we're going off of classic WWE logic, you'd think, where she was in the ring for like 35 minutes, she held her own, she had a good showing, so you would think Shotzi Blackheart, but no. Look, I gave her props. That's as far as I'm going. No. As long as I am a co-host on this show, she will never win an MVP. Ever. I don't care if she becomes like a 6-star ring general. I don't care. She's never winning an MVP on my show. I don't care. So, or at least she's never getting one from me. So, with that being said, though, tie it over. My MVP is going to be the Velveteen Dream. He had a fantastic showing in his match against Bobby Fish. It could have been one of three men for me. It could have been Velveteen, Kushida, or it could have been Keith Lee, because I thought all three men had fantastic matches. But for Velveteen is consistently showing you every time he performs, he's just getting better. Like, that ring rust has finally worn off. It seems like he's back to just putting on fantastic matches every time he's in the ring, and the fact that he was able to have a great match with someone you would classify as a tag team wrestler, I thought he did a fantastic job, and you're definitely winning me over with the idea that he could legitimately challenge for the NXT Championship. I believe it. So props to you, Velveteen. You're my MVP this week for NXT. Going forward, we are now going to talk about All Elite Wrestling's Dynamite this week. Did you catch...
Oh boy.
So did you catch where Dynamite was live from? Because it was definitely a different arena than what it was.
Okay, so it's an undisclosed location. It's the Jags practice facility. There's turf on the ground.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's undisclosed, but it's definitely the Jags training facility for those of you who do not know.
It's probably
Tony Khan, the owner of AEW, the son of the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
And that's definitely probably why they don't want to just like parade the fact that they're there, because you don't want it to be like, you're, using your connections, using your dad or whatever to, help your company. So it's probably like
Damn straight I am. I mean, his dad owns Daly's place too.
Yeah, so that's my only assumption as to why they were like undisclosed location. I don't know why else they would hide it from the public. It shouldn't matter. We're not gonna show up there, so I don't know.
I'm gonna just roll up to the Jags practice facility and lay down these wrestlers outside. That's not First of all, I'm in Michigan, so. But yeah, so I could only assume it's the Jaguars practice facility or something along those lines.
Probably.
They're indoors, totally secluded.
The stage and everything's definitely a lot tighter, a lot smaller. It's a tinier setup than normal. So.
Yep, but they still have the double barrel entrances.
Yes.
And additionally, they had crowd space for the Gun Club, Britt Baker, Jimmy Havoc.
Who's Jimmy Havoc, by the way, who it's now confirmed he's just gone full-blooded heel at this point. Like, there's no longer that gray area. He is a heel.
He just smelt blood in the water. He just wanted to attack somebody.
So we kicked off this week's Dynamite with Cody Rhodes, Tony Schiavone, and the best commentator in the world, Pharaoh. Yes.
So, all right, I'm just gonna come out and say this. I'm gonna do this now instead of later. Tony Schiavone. Oh boy, this is a tough one because I like you. I like you a lot. You're good personality. God, you suck on commentary. You are like this is me talking to Jerry Lawler on our first episode of the new season of Raw or whatever it was. Shivani, buddy, what are you doing? You don't remember the names of moves. You don't remember people's names, and you are just not that interesting on commentary. So when people like myself or like Marcus has occasionally suggested that we take you off and put Taz in your place and allow you to still host the show, allow you to do interviews and have questionnaires with people, like take that role, that's fine. Just please get out of my ear on commentary. You are almost as bad as whatever nasally ass dude we heard on NXT.
Oh, come on. Shouts to Sam Roberts, fellow YouTube personality. But yes, Tony Schiavone, that tonight was not your best showcase. He didn't do bad last week. I mean, let's be honest, he didn't do bad last week. But
last he did fantastic. This week was just absolute decline.
Yeah, this was not the best showcase for Mr. Schiavone. Thank God we had the likes of Cody and Boom Boom Colt Cabana.
Colt Cabana.
So
also, who knew Colt Cabana was such a good announcer? I mean, I know he'd done commentary spots here and there, but like, dang, Colt.
Yeah,
I see you.
He was definitely good. My only issue with Colt Cabana was that he did a lot of putting himself over throughout the night when he was on commentary. Almost like I understand the gimmick and what he's trying to accomplish, and he's not the first or the last wrestler to do that. But I've always had a slight annoyance when wrestlers go on, like, yeah, you can push yourself a little bit, but when everything has to relate back to you, it's like, okay, dude, come on. It's almost as bad as when WWE tries to, like, force narratives down our throat, like when the commentators are arguing instead of just commentating about the match. It's like, that's kind of the feel I got from Colt Cabana tonight.
I think the only reason I was okay with it is I see why they did it. I mean, maybe I don't, because it'll depend on the outcome of his match with Lance Archer. You build him up as a character that people love, because, I mean, I love Colt Cabana. I've loved his indie work, but in AEW, he's a good guy. He's funny. He speaks his mind. Like, he's a traditional comedy wrestling babyface, and you build him up like this so that when he goes into this match with Lance Archer and eventually just gets his ass absolutely handed to him, because that's hopefully what's going to... Like, don't get me wrong, I love you, Colt Cabana, but hopefully Lance Archer comes out with an absolute dub. That makes sense, because then you're trying to build the character, you're trying to get fans invested. That builds more heat for Lance Archer if he absolutely demolishes him. Colt Cabana wins that match. I mean, it did a little bit, but that doesn't do nearly as much. That's not an excuse to do what you did.
I was gonna say, I mean, to be honest, if it's me, watching watching Lance Archer absolutely demolish Colt Cabana would actually bring me much enjoyment. I would just laugh the whole time, because
why don't you like Colt Cabana?
I don't have an issue with Colt Cabana until tonight, when I heard him just consistently putting himself over and over again, and now I just hate the guy, and I'm like, yeah, I just can't wait to watch you get absolutely brutalized by Lance Archer. So if that's the goal, is to make me hate Colt Cabana, then you mission accomplished. You did that tonight. So Dasha was the announcer tonight. No longer did we have Brandy Rhodes. It was Dasha. No longer going by the last name Fuentes or whatever her
Gonzalez.
name, whatever her gimmick name
Dasha
was.
Fuentes in WWE.
Yes.
Here she is, Dasha Gonzalez. That's still not her actual last name.
Yeah. I don't know why we have to just give people fake names for the announcers. I promise you, I don't care enough.
But happy to see Dasha out of WWE. I know that she had been looking for a new endeavor. She didn't particularly love her spot there, if I recall correctly, and happy to see her thriving in AEW. Plus, Brandy is the manager of a up and coming tag team and as such, she needs to not be the ring announcer. Oh, God, what are the natural nightmares?
So let's get into this. So if you didn't hear about it on, what was it, Monday that they announced it, the TNT Championship tourney has been revealed. It's the new singles championship for AEW Dynamite, and the matches have been announced. So on the left side of the bracket, it kicks off with Shawn Spears versus Cody Rhodes, and Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin.
Can't wait.
Both
those are going to be two fantastic matches.
Yes.
And the rematches, both of them are.
Yes.
I cannot wait to see what Cody and Shawn Spears do in the ring. Those two, their chemistry is fantastic.
And then that second match, Sammy and Darby. Oh my God! I mean, I can't give more praise for these two than I already do each and every week. So let's go on to the right side of the bracket. It kicks off with Kip Sabian versus Dustin Rhodes.
Hear me out.
I'm hearing you.
And you're gonna hate me. Dustin wins.
I don't hate that. I hate the match, but
I hate the match, but the reason they needed to do it, Kip Sabian's gonna look really good. Dustin needs to win this match because that's just another person that when Lance Archer faces him and beats the living shit out of him, people will go, "Oh no, Dustin!"
Yeah.
And the last match is Lance Archer and Colt Cabana, which I cannot wait for.
I mean, it's definitely better. I can't wait for it because it's going to be the first time Lance Archer has actually had a match in AEW.
Yikes. I mean, yeah, I suppose. The funny thing is, I mean, you can all but book the right side of the tournament. Like, that books itself.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What do you do with the left side of the... I mean, there's a million different ways you go with that. I mean, ideally, yeah, I'd love to see Cody versus Darby Allin, and it looks like they're setting up for that with what happens at the end of the night. But
oh, yeah.
Is it just me, or do you kind of want to see Shawn Spears come out of the left side of the bracket?
I really want to... I mean, you know, I've been a Shawn Spears guy since Ty Dillinger.
I love Shawn Spears.
I love the guy. I've been wanting... If this is the moment, then that the Perfect 10 gets pushed, then please do it. I need to see the chairman winning matches in AEW because I love the
2-match winning streak now.
Yes, he is. That, by the way, that record is horrendous. My God. So
I mean, his gimmick literally being I'm tagging with random jobbers on Dark to find a tag team partner.
Exactly.
But I really hope Shawn Spears wins that match, and I feel dirty saying that. And then I want Darby Allin to win against Sammy Guevara.
So it almost seems like going into our first match of the night, I don't know who copied who. Like if it was AEW catching wind of what NXT was doing or vice versa. But this seemed like a battle of the opening matches because the first match is what on paper you wouldn't think. It's another match, which by the way, it's another single star versus a tag specialist in Kenny Omega versus Trent from the Best Friends. So again, another match where you think, well, you know, this isn't going to be fantastic. And my God, did they just say that to you and completely blow your expectations.
History lesson for all of you at home. For those of you who are unaware, Trent used to fight New Japan Pro Wrestling by the name Trent Beretta. Trent Beretta has fought Kenny Omega before in singles matches because he was a singles star at the time. And by God, a very good one. So this is just a rematch of one of the best matches New Japan has put on last decade.
So this match had a 20-minute time limit, and it went 19 minutes. This match was fantastic. I mean,
I'm going to be honest, I'd have been okay if this would have gone to time limit at 30 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes.
But, no, I wanted it to go to 30.
Okay, I got you.
30-minute time limit, and I wanted them to go to the time limit draw.
Or you could have taken some time from some other stuff that happened later, and I'd have been okay with that. But
I disagree. There is not a single part of this episode of Dynamite that I did not like.
we'll get to it. So, yes.
Release the hounds!
So, this match was fantastic. All 19 minutes were used, or 19 of the 20 minutes were used. Just impressing. It was so good. I mean, my God, they made Trent Seven look like an absolute beast in this match. Kenny Omega always looks fantastic, of course, but the way Trent picked apart the hand and arm of Kenny Omega, which we know he had a prior injury from his tag team championship defense against the Young Bucks, and Trent focused on that. And that was kind of the theme throughout the match. I mean, before that, it was Kenny Omega focusing on the back of Trent. So they kind of traded picking apart body parts. I can't do this match justice talking about it. It was so good. This is just something that you just have to go and watch. And
this goes from friendly competition to ring psychology to picking apart body parts to just all out spot fest. To brawl, to spot fest. This match gives you everything.
And this is one. It's you definitely, though it makes this match the best is the fact that you hear like Cody on commentary just going, "Wow, these two are really like giving it all they got here." Like, I mean, they're going to be hurting after this. I don't know, like really get the logic behind going all out in a match that in theory, really doesn't have much impact on the future or anything. I mean, he did justify it later on by saying, Trent picking up a victory here actually makes a lot of sense because not only does it give him a win over someone like Kenny Omega, but it immediately potentially throws him in the title picture and throws the AEW rankings into chaos a little bit. Like, what does this mean for the future of AEW? So, for Trent, this means everything. For Kenny, it's kind of like, yeah, whatever. I mean, yeah, they acknowledge the fact.
Omega.
I mean, yeah, they acknowledge the fact that he had a 6-win streak going into this match, singles matches. So, not like he needed the victory. But he's Kenny Omega, so he's like, I'm not losing. What's that? So
I when people are like, oh, well, they had no reason to go all out like that, and it's a match where it's like Kenny or like on WWE side like AJ, and they're like, oh, they had no reason to do all that. It was just a throwaway match. I'm like, it's Kenny.
Well,
it's never a throwaway match.
Well, I'm talking about it from kayfabe perspective and the fact that Like, in the fact that, I mean, you've got this...
perspective, it's Kenny!
Well, you've got this... The thing is, you've got this tournament coming up, so, like... And that's what Cody was kind of making note to, in the fact that you get injured in this match, how are you going to be going into your match for the tournament? So, and that's kind of looking at it from...
Guys are in the tournament.
No, not in the tournament, excuse me, looking for the... I'm sorry? Blood and Guts, yes. Like, how does that impact Kenny Omega going forward for that match? So, it's like... I see Cody's perspective in that respect that, his ultimate goal is we want to beat the Inner Circle. So, Kenny, please don't hurt yourself, please. So, I get that. But still, fantastic match. If I'm comparing opening matches from NXT to AEW definitely takes the cake here. Not saying that the Velveteen Dream match was bad by any stretch of the imagination, but just doesn't compare to watching one of the best in the world and one of the best tag team specialists in the world just do their thing in the ring. So that was fantastic. Moving on, next we get by the way, real quick actually before I move on, you get Kenny won if it's not obvious.
I was gonna say, Kenny hits a one-winged angel.
Yeah, V-trigger into the one-winged angel. But next,
as he hit the 1 minute time limit, I was like, wow, this is gonna go to a time limit draw. And then I saw him hit the one-winged angel. I was like, good night.
I got nervous because Trent was like moving his arm a little bit, like when Cody was pinning him, and I was like, Trent, don't you effing dare! So
you're not the one, Trent.
So
yes, we move on to Hikaru Shida
versus Anna Jay.
Okay, so I had that response too. I did. And then I watched the match. And I liked it. I liked what I saw. And then I realized why I liked what I saw. She's a product of the Nightmare Factory. she trained under QT Marshall and Cody Rhodes. I think Anna Jay, well, yeah, still a little green. Definitely had a good showing. She could sell the hell out of just about any move. And she's very athletic. So I look forward to her future. Do I think it was the perfect debut? No. But, I mean, better than local jobber number one.
I guess here's my thing. I would compare this, like, the accurate comparison would be to compare it to, like, the Joaquin Phoenix and Kushida match, and the fact that you have a younger talent going off against, maybe a more of experienced veteran. Here's my problem, is the fact that I don't like Shida either. So, already, you take someone that I don't care about in Anna Jay, and you put her in a match with someone that I just blatantly don't like, and I just go, wow, well, this is going to be a waste of like 5 to 10 minutes. And so I did watch the match. I don't skip. So I watched the match. I mean, it was a match. It was for what it was. It took up time on the show. So you accomplished your goal. Good job. Let's move on.
Hold on. I think this does a couple important things. It does nothing for Shida, by the way. So, sorry, Hikaru. Like, I like you. It does nothing for you. It does nothing at all for your career. A couple things for Anna Jay, though. She showed up and did particularly well. She showed that she has a connection to Cody Rhodes, which means she's probably going to sign with AEW. So this isn't like the dude that we saw in Florida a couple weeks ago where it was like literally local jobber.
Yeah.
This is somebody who probably has a future with this company. So I like that. I like that they took someone that they're developing. Like, if they would continue to do that, like when NXT does that, when you get even if it's a squash, because this was not a squash. I mean, it was quick, but it was not a squash. Anna Jay got in quite a bit of offense.
I guess my best comparison to this, the more accurate comparison to the one I made earlier, is this is like Cameron Grimes versus local jobber, where I just go, oh, dude, get it off my TV.
This is like the match when you started rooting for James Ellsworth.
Yes.
Let's go, jobber.
So, and I know it sounds like I'm just ripping on Shida, but I don't have an interest in her. Her character, what is her character? Like, I don't get it.
I don't either.
At least the freaky alien chick, like, that's her gimmick, is she's weird. Shida is just, I kick really hard and I'm Japanese. That, like, that's not a gimmick. That's what she is.
I mean, to be fair, what's Shinsuke Nakamura's... Okay.
Whoa. Don't... Blasphemy. Blasphemy. I'm not even going to let you finish that statement. I'm not even going to let you finish that statement. If you're talking about the artiste, then you have an exception. If you're talking about the king of strong style, then come on. That's not even on the same level.
I kick hard and I'm Japanese.
He is one of the most flamboyant superstars we've ever seen. Like, you can't even make the same comparison. They're not on the same scale. Stop it. I will slap you through Skype. I don't care.
Henceforth shall refer to Hikaru Shida as the queen of strong style.
Oh, stop. When we've got Io Shirai running around, I will hurt you. So, I don't even... I need to... You got me upset. I'm so...
For your debut, Anna Jay. I hope to see more of you. I've already followed you on the Instagram and the Twitter machine. I'm excited to see where your career goes.
So Shida won with a Falcon's arrow. Moving on. We get the announcement. It's going to be in 2 weeks. Jake Hager versus Jon Moxley in an empty arena, no holds barred match. Where did y'all get that idea from? I wonder. Who else is doing an empty warehouse, no holds barred, not even like sanctioned match? Completely different. Completely different, right? Not
yeah,
even
one's an arena, one's a warehouse. One's a championship match, one's a rivalry match.
I don't even know like what this match has like. Not to say that I don't want to see this, but one of these rivalries warrants the empty building. The other one does not. Can you guess which?
How many times has Jake Hager in the last 2 months attempted to murder Jon Moxley?
Yeah, okay, but it's not even just Jake Hager. It's the whole of the inner circle. And then Moxley has just made it a Moxley's just made it a point that I'm coming after you. Your ass is mine.
Your ass is mine.
What? He shows up on one episode of Dynamite, like gets a shot in on Hager, and all of a sudden it's like no holds barred, empty arena. We hate each other.
Because that's the only way you could seriously have Moxley.
Also, can we talk about the empty arena storyline? The fact that the arena's already empty. There are no fans. So
yeah.
It's just...
Of course there's no fans. Chris Jericho barred all fans for the current time being.
Yes. I don't know. This whole thing is...
Jericho.
This whole thing is just kind of goofy to me. It's not that I don't want to see it. I would have rather honestly just seen these two just like have a regular match. I don't think this match needs a stipulation, especially someone like Jake Hager, who is a technical mastermind. This match could easily just be a regular match, but you have to just take it to the next level. Why? Why does it have to go to that next level?
Because they want to keep Hager looking strong and keep the title on Moxley. They don't want Hager to lose in a wrestling match because his prowess is in technical skill, mixed martial arts. Moxley's is in street fighting and brawling. So they think if they put it in a no-holds-barred stipulation, they can make Hager look strong in the ring and Moxley win via shenanigans.
So then how about do this then? How about, since Moxley has been put through a table and that's kind of been the inner circle thing, why not make it a tables match? Something that you're still getting your extreme gimmick, but it's not over the top ridiculous because this feud does not warrant the gimmick that you're giving it. So do something like a tables match or something along the lines of that instead of empty arena, no holds barred. That is the only thing that's getting to me about this because this feud doesn't warrant that. It's like when you give someone a Hell in the Cell match. It's like, what did they do? What does this feud do to warrant? You're just doing that so you can say we have a Hell in the Cell on this show. Like, it's kind of the same thing in my opinion. So I don't know. If I'm gonna critique one, I'm gonna critique the other, and that's my honest opinion on that.
Yeah, no, I get it, and I feel like you probably could have gone with a different stipulation and still made Moxley the winner and make Hager look strong. Because
Hell, Hager doesn't even have to get put through the table from Moxley. He could go of his own fruition and lose the match. We've seen that. Seen that hot spot before.
Yes. So, I think this package was well put together. It gave you like a real sports feel, a big fight feel to it, and then Hager talked. And
what is it with you and making fun of the way people talk tonight?
Oh, no, this wasn't just about the way he talked. It's just, he's not very intimidating, you know?
Yeah, it's like when Brock talks with that heavy Minnesota accent.
It's a big, strong, scary dude with these big, broad shoulders, and he's like, and I'm gonna come after you, Jon Moxley, and I'm gonna beat you in the ring because nobody's better than I am. And I'm like, Hager, you are terrifying. You could look into the camera and hold up a sign. Pull a Sammy Guevara. I'd be happy.
Yeah, you could have you even had Jericho speak in this promo, so you could have had Jericho just talk the whole time. By the way, real fast, and I'll let you go. I love the whole idea of what the Inner Circle is doing with the fact that if one person wins the title, they all win the title. Like, but it's not as cringy as like when the New Day did it, but it's like legitimately the fact that like, look, we are a family. We're not like the Elite where we're fighting over who's the best, yada, yada, yada. It's the fact that, first of all, we could have now 2 members of the Inner Circle who have been a world champion, and this makes the entire group look fantastic. So why would any of us be upset about this? That's an amazing story to tell. Props to you, AEW.
In real sports, talk about this all the time. Guys who like win the MVP in football, like Lamar Jackson this year, where they go, "Wow, you had an amazing season. You won the MVP. We're so excited for you." And he goes, "Yeah, but I couldn't get it done in the playoffs. The important thing was that I couldn't get a championship done. Like, I wanted to do this for my team, not just for myself. It's not about me. It's about everyone. We're in this together." Like, and the idea that, like, we could have 2 of the first 3 world champions of all time, like, yeah, that's big.
Yeah.
That's big. Especially if, and God, I really hope they don't do it, but they might, Sammy Guevara wins the TNT championship, and then you have that and Big Platinum.
I wouldn't hate that if they gave it to Sammy Guevara.
Oh God, I hate to say this. I really think it's going to be Lance Archer. I do. He's just, who beats Lance Archer?
I know, but it's so forced.
No. He's going to be the one.
What?
He's going to be the first person to kick out of the One-Winged Angel.
No way. There's no way. You think Kenny would give that to him? No way.
And Archer's an up-and-comer, technically.
No, you've lost your mind. No, you are. That's two things of blasphemous proportions that you have spoken on this show tonight. The third time you get struck by lightning. I hope so. I can just watch what you say.
Oh, okay. After I Googled it, Lance is 43.
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
Yeah,
43.
He's a really good-looking 43-year-old.
I thought he was early 30s, late 20s. You tell me you thought he was 43 years old?
No, but I knew he wasn't young. I knew he was like mid-30s.
Jesus Christ, Lance. Okay, so maybe not Lance Archer. We're back to the drawing board. Darby Allin, maybe. Still in on that one.
I could definitely see Darby being the one that eventually kicks out of the One-Winged Angel. I could see it.
Or Hangman in the rivalry blow-off match.
As a Hangman fan, I gotta veto that one, dog. I love Hangman Adam Page. And it would totally make sense in the grand scheme of things. You know, he's the young up-and-comer coming through the Elite. I get it. It makes so much sense. I don't even hate it. I just don't want to see it. I would just... It's like watching Brock Lesnar in the streak. It makes sense in the grand scheme of things. I get it. It makes sense. I don't want to see it.
But we'll forever curse whoever does it the same way with Brock. Taker fans will never look at Brock the same way. Kenny fans?
Yeah.
Whoever is that, I will never look at them the same way. If it's Hangman, I immediately hate Hangman Page.
I mean, you're right, though. I mean...
Maybe I could be like, oh, you know, he endures all kinds of pain. Like, he's used to it. Like, he's not the same kind of person as Kenny or any of the guys he's ever faced. If it's Hangman, I'm like, are you kidding me? The alcoholic drunk of the group?
Yeah, so either way, yeah. But since you decided to mention Lance Archer, let's go ahead and get into what happens next, which, oh boy.
Fuck monster.
So Jake the Snake, before the match starts, cuts a promo for Lance Archer. Him and Archer are both angry. They're furious. They're like, go ahead and feed us whatever pawn you've decided to throw at us tonight. He mentions that obviously Cody doesn't want to go, and he's probably, he's done it because he's either smart or because his better half has advised him against it, which we all know that Brandy wears the pants in the relationship. So, yikes. We then get the announcement that it's going to be Marco frickin' Stunt. Yeah, time the F out.
hold on. All seriousness, because I do have to bring this to a serious level for a minute. My condolences to Marco. His grandma actually just passed away a couple of days ago. This is the first time he's getting in the ring since then. So, good on ya. You got in the ring with a big guy, and I feel like that's probably why he got as much offense in as he did. The opportunity that, after a major passing like that to get back in the ring and get some offense in, even on a bigger guy like that. So, sorry to hear that for you, Marco Stunt. He then tweeted out today, I don't entirely remember what happened last night, but for some reason I'm extremely sore today. Right before his match, right before he went on, he tweeted out, wow, nobody told me it was going to be Lance Archer.
So, I didn't know that, so I feel like a jerk. So before I say what I'm going to say, condolences to Marco Stunt for your passing, in all seriousness. I'm sorry to hear that. That being said, excuse me, let me just sit up here. AEW. Can you hear? I want to make sure you're there. You go. Lance Archer, the whatever freaking name you're calling him this week, you've done all this work building him up. This masterpiece, the everyone dies gimmick. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. You've thrown him in a feud against Cody freaking Rhodes. Like, oh God, what these two are gonna do, probably amazing. They're gonna tear the house down. I can't wait to see it. And you've built it up. Cody throws him a bone and says he's going to have his first match on Dynamite. I've been waiting for this since last week. Yes, let's go. We're going to see the Murder Hawk in some action this week, right? Lance Archer's first AEW match, his debut. And then you put him in the ring with Marco Stunt. Let me tell you about Marco Stunt. Fair point to him. Not bad for what he has to deal with. For his size, great competitor. I don't even dislike Marco Stunt. I appreciate him in the Jurassic Express. I'm not like some people where I'm like, well, he's tiny, so he can't wrestle. No, that's not my thing. I think there's a place for him in the business. I think he's an amazing wrestler. I like him more than Hornswoggle, and that's saying a lot. But the fact that Lance Archer's first match is the equivalent of a job match, you put him in the ring with someone like Marco Stunt, who inherently had zero chance. This is supposed to be our introduction to Lance Archer, and on a company and a show that persistently tries to put on good matches and make us care about the entertainment, what we're seeing, make us care about the viewing experience. And you try to make a decent match out of Marco Stunt versus Lance Archer. You tried to make it believable that Marco Stunt could get any semblance of offense on Lance Archer, that this match wouldn't have ended in like a minute, 30 seconds or less. And that's not including the time that Lance Archer had the match won and just pulled Marco Stunt up to inflict more punishment on him. But the fact that you tried to make it somewhat believable that Marco Stunt, even for like a fragment, a hair of a chance, had any right to share the ring with Lance Archer on his debut, if not at all. That is one of the most frustrating, infuriating things I've seen in a long time, because you just keep teasing us and teasing us and teasing us with Lance Archer, and finally we get his debut, and it's this. I think I'm more angry than the made-up character that you've bestowed upon Lance Archer and Jake the Snake is at the disrespect that you're showing them than what I'm supposed to be, because it's ridiculous. I mean, I know if the grand scale is it's supposed to be, oh, you're supposed to be disrespecting Lance Archer by putting him in this match, then fine, whatever, but I don't want to see it. I don't care. If you want to have him job out somebody, then throw him freaking, I don't know, Sean Spears or somebody, for God's sakes. I don't care, but I don't want to see Marco Stunt versus Lance Archer as his first match. I don't want to see that. It's freaking, it's awful. It's terrible. This was a complete waste of time. I would have rather seen that first match go 30 minutes to the time limit, like you said, than this match just not happen. Just make me wait another week for a Lance Archer debut at that point. You want to get the disrespect angle going? How about you just say, by the way, we actually ran out of time on this show, so Lance, your match has been canceled or something like that. If you want to get that disrespect angle going, you could do something like that. But no, instead you just had to. I don't even feel like Lance Archer had a match tonight. Like, I feel like what did we watch? We just watched someone get beat up for the equivalent of 5 minutes. And then I was actually getting worried at one point when Lance Archer did the post-match attack that they were going to reverse the decision, because that is a thing. And I was like, oh God, I was going to literally cut the TV off if you gave the win to Marco Stunt. I was going to just get up and walk out. So my God, just don't ever do that again. Ever again. That was horrible. Frick is wrong with you people?
I liked the match quite a bit, actually. I think this is a good opportunity where you threw somebody in the match and they had nothing to, like, Marco Stunt loses this match. What does he lose from that? You throw somebody else in this match, what do they lose? Well, they could lose a lot. Marco Stunt, I mean, this is a match where you look at it and you go, yeah, there's just no way. I mean, he's gone toe-to-toe with the Butcher time and time again, and yeah, he gets the better of him once in a while, but it's a tag match, and he still has the other two guys on at the ringside. So, well, yeah, I get that it's obviously a throwaway match. I look at it this way. It's gonna be a throwaway match anyways for the first match, and instead of having him job out somebody who's on the roster. Now, this is one where if you want to bring in local jobber, sure. Go ahead. Do the Braun Strowman treatment. Bring in 3 local jobbers. Make it a 3-on-1 handicap match. I don't care. But aside from that, if you're going to make it somebody on the roster, I'm glad it was Marco, because it was at least somebody who, like, I mean, he had nothing to lose from absolutely getting obliterated in this match.
It's not that Marco Stunt has nothing to lose. I don't care about Marco Stunt having nothing to lose. It's about what does Lance Archer have to gain. You don't accomplish building Lance Archer as a monster heel by having him destroy Marco Stunt. That has always been my thing. You've never accomplished anything from having these monster heels destroy job talent. That doesn't get anybody over. We watched Braun Strowman run through jobbers for months, and everybody hated him. They were like, why is this on my TV? No one cares. You know when people started caring about Braun Strowman? When he started fighting people like Roman Reigns and winning, and people were like, oh my God, he's beating someone like Roman. He's in matches with someone like Roman. You know how you get a monster over is that you have them beat legitimate people. Lance Archer isn't going to get over ring-wise until you put him in matches that actually matter. He's going to have to beat people that matter to get over.
He's going to.
But his first match shouldn't be against Marco Stunt. That doesn't get him over. That doesn't impress me. No one's impressed. It's supposed to. But the whole idea with the whole post-match attack and throwing him into the crowd, that's because, he's supposed to be a monster. But obviously anyone's a monster against Marco Stunt. That's my point.
He's supposed to look exorbitantly strong. He does. But you're not supposed to look at this match and go, wow, this guy's going to take Moxley's championship tomorrow.
No, but
you're supposed to look at this match and go, wow, but that match in 2 weeks against Colt Cabana, he has a real fighting, this guy actually could beat Colt Cabana's ass.
But you should for God's sakes, it's in 2 weeks, so that means you have 1 week now to potentially have him in a match with someone that matters before you go, he actually have a chance. That's my point. Hell, if you don't want to I'm not saying put him in the ring with somebody like a Darby or a John Moxley. I'm saying put him in the ring with somebody like a freaking QT Marshall, someone that just, you don't inherently care about, but their record doesn't matter, and the fact that the crowd doesn't have an emotional attachment to as much, so losing for them doesn't matter.
Right. Well, and this is the thing.
And if you, sorry, real fast to cut you off, if you destroy someone who as big as QT Marshall, I want to see him manhandle somebody like QT Marshall, and then I'll be impressed and I'll go, wow, look at that behemoth. Now I believe he can go and fight someone like Colt Cabana, like Cody Rhodes, like John Moxley. I don't give a damn about Lance Archer right now. I care more about Jake the Snake Roberts than I do Lance Archer, because Jake the Snake is coming on my TV every week and making me give a damn. What have I seen Lance Archer do? Beat up random jobbers in a video and then fight Marco Stunt? Why does that make me care about Lance Archer?
So, first of all, you hit the head on the nail when you were doing your little promo thing there. This is about Cody booking him disrespectfully. You have to go through all the talent just like everybody else. Your first match is Marco Stunt. That's what this is. And that's what scares me, is that it's going to wind up being Cody and Lance Archer in the finals of the TNT Championship tournament. It books itself.
Yes.
I hate that idea because I don't want to see Cody make it to the finals. I love Cody. You know that. I don't want to see him make it to the finals. I would rather see Cody somehow make his way into the World Championship picture than be in this championship picture.
And here's the other problem with that, is that not only by setting that up do you establish Cody in that title picture, but then if Cody, which we all assume is going to lose, then that means within the span of a month, you've already put a championship on Lance Archer. When in that
concludes May 28th, so 2 months, but still, yeah.
But that means by that point he would have had 4 matches, and one of them is against Marco Stunt, and he already and he would already have a championship.
He might, he might, hopefully, because it's 8 weeks from the start of his career to the pay-per-view. Hopefully, within those 8 weeks, he'll have some matches that are not in the tournament, that are not against Marco Stunt.
I just love watching you just run laps and try to spin this. I love it.
Because I see the image. I see the idea.
You see the future?
No.
Almighty fortune teller Caesar, please go. It's plain.
Well, look. I mean, if you're gonna argue that, then why the hell is Shawn Spears, who's 7-11 in the tournament?
Because the whole point's to build somebody that's hasn't had their opportunity, that's been in the company. At least that's what I thought before you threw Lance Archer in there.
Lance, first of all, you didn't know Colt Cabana was in it.
No, and I also don't like the fact that Colt Cabana's in there, but I mean, whatever.
I don't understand you. So the thing with Archer is it's a story where he had mainstream wrestling taken away from him. That's his gimmick, at least. He was literally exiled from American wrestling. He was blackballed in America and required to go to Japan. So their story is, this is his redemption story. This is his chance to come back and win big here.
Oh, and he looked so redeemed, squashing little Marco Stunt tonight. Good. Welcome back to the American wrestling scene, Lance Archer. Everybody missed you.
It's supposed to be disrespectful. It's supposed to be stupid. Because it's building to the gimmick.
The ends don't justify the means in this case, Nick. Just because you know the end goal doesn't make it okay.
Just because you are interested in seeing Lance Archer in the ring as much as anybody else is, doesn't mean that we should sacrifice an entire storyline because we want to see one good match right now.
But you don't even have to sacrifice the storyline. You could do the same disrespectful idea with other talent. There are plenty of AEW wrestlers that have horrible records in the company that you could put Lance Archer against and get the same point across, besides Marco Stunt.
Anyways, we get a message from Mr. Brody Lee. This is by far, I'm sorry, Matt Hardy, I will eat my heart out. This is by far my new favorite gimmick in All Elite Wrestling. This is must-watch TV on a week-in, week-out basis.
So, after coming back, sitting down on the couch, taking a nice deep breath and having a drink of water, I hit the play button, continued to watch AEW Dynamite this week, and my frown turned upside down, and I was rewarded for continuing to push through the show with a fantastic promo by Mr. Brody Lee, and fantastic job, my friend. Bravo.
Name is Mr. Brody Lee, the exalted one of the Dark Order. Come on, get up. Tell him what you were gonna say.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lee.
It's Mr. Brody. You address me as Mr. Brody.
Yes, exalted one.
No! Are you stupid? Dude, listen, I said Mr. Brody. Now tell me what you say.
We are one.
No, God! Is that the way I told you to say it? Say it how I told you!
It was so good. And then you
For those of you who don't know, well, yeah, then he whips the glass at the wall. For those of you who don't know, Vince McMahon, and this is a direct line to Vince, shocking, has told superstars in the past that they're to say catchphrases at a certain pace, at a certain volume, with certain emphasis, and that if they don't utter the catchphrase enough, they will be fined, aka point at the sign. If you're not pointing right, Vince will get all up on your ass. So this is a little shot at Vince McMahon for the point.
Well, the way he addressed to like the one guy that started yawning too, he was like, "Why are you yawning? What is something happening at home? Is there a problem? There is. Everything is closed down. You have no reason to be tired.
Everything in the world right now is closed. There's no reason to be tired. You know what yawning, you know what being tired shows? Weakness. Are you weak? Is that what you want people to think, that you're weak?" And of course, this is in reference to Vince McMahon talking this way to some of his booking talent, actually. Rather recently, creative members have come out and talked about how they'll keep late nights and they'll be in a booking meeting, and then Vince McMahon will catch them yawning and be like, "What's wrong with you? Something going on? Is there something going on at home, bud? Is there a reason you're so freaking tired? It can't be from all of this, right? Not the hard nights out on the road, the continuously being up till 4 a.m. writing storylines and then getting up at 8 a.m. to have booking meetings. Can't be any of that, right? It's got to be something happening at home. It's not me working you to the bone like a dog and then not appreciating you." God, I love this effing gimmick so much.
Yeah, it's
especially now that I've gotten myself into the dark side of the ring, seeing people talk about the way that Vince is, talking about, there's an episode on the screw job, talking about the way Vince went about that, to hear even, Vince Russo and, oh God, I can't think of his name. I hate him. Jim Cornette. Yeah, the guy I can't stand because he's still stuck in the 70s. Talk about the way that Vince went about that. Like, this gives such an edge to what Brody Lee is doing, because that is Vince McMahon.
And well, everyone knows like Vince is insane, and this is something. I mean, the Dark Side of the Ring, by the way, fantastic documentary if you haven't seen it. But I mean, it's not the first time that this stuff has come out, and people have came out and people have been giving interviews and talking about how insane Vince is for years. So I mean, knowing how crazy Vince is, to see a gimmick, people have come out and made fun of Vince on TV before in other companies, but to see someone like just go out and portray the Mr. McMahon character, except it's not Mr. McMahon, it's Vince himself, and make that a gimmick, that is fantastic.
That's the thing, like, this entire gimmick is Vince McMahon.
Yes.
It's you and I were talking about the whole TNA taking shots at Vince thing, and you were like, I don't know if this is going to get over because it's just, making fun of Vince. It's not making fun of Vince. It is Vince. Well,
again, to my point, you kind of mischaracterized my point there. It wasn't that I was saying I don't think it's going to get over. It's the fact that you should not base your whole company around just taking shots at WWE. That was my biggest concern. And again, I also to be fair, I also did make the point that someone like Brody Lee obviously has a right to be upset with the way things went their previous tenure in that company. So he obviously is upset, and he's using this gimmick as a way to express himself and get back at the company that treated him so poorly for years. So I don't have a problem with it as long as it's not, as long as it's the only one. As long as he's the only person whose entire gimmick is based on just hating WWE, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I would guess it probably. I would guess it's the only gimmick they're going.
I sure hope so.
Nah, man, they need to bring in a Shane McMahon gimmick.
Yikes. So
Eric Rowan. There you go. Rowan can be Shane.
So, after getting me all back up and in this show with this amazing, amazing promo, you immediately lose my interest almost like that when we get the announcement that it is it is 8 and 9 versus, my God, you need to fire whoever's coming up with the names for these tag teams. It's 8 and 9 versus the Natural Freaking Nightmares, which is QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes.
Yikes.
And it was not a good match, by the way. Like,
no.
It wasn't a good match. And it had nothing to do with Dustin and QT Marshall. It was just simply the fact that 8 and 9, I don't know who's under the mask. It could be freaking Enzo and Cass for all I know. But they were horrible. They were not good in the ring.
No, they weren't. They were very bad in the ring, actually.
Yes. Tremendously so. It's actually kind of impressive.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I mean, I know I'm just the YouTube guy, but I felt like I could have put on a better 3 minutes in the ring than 9 did.
It almost felt like it was on purpose. Like, I got to a point where I was like, am I being ribbed here? Like, is this actually like an on purpose, like, bad match?
I think it is. I actually think that they were purposefully putting on a bad match. And of course, we do get Brody Lee's after-match attack. So the Natural Nightmares win. Cool. They leave the ring. They celebrate for like 1 minute and 30 seconds, which is a little odd.
I think Brody Lee wasn't ready to come out.
Yeah, Brody's music hits. He comes out, stares down Dustin with those frightening eyes, and then turns to the ring.
When did he blink? Did he blink?
And he power bombs 8.
Yes.
Who took the pinfall. And my favorite line of the night, albeit from Tony Schiavone, wow, this man is so cruel. He's so awful to his employees. How could anyone ever want to work for a guy like that?
Yep. Fantastic. That was good. I didn't hate that part. But just, my God, the match was just so bad. And by the way, since we're talking about terrible stable names, you know who we haven't seen in a while? Where's the Death Triangle at, man?
Hey now, coronavirus might have them quarantined in 2 different countries right now. So.
Yeah, that's fair.
Did you see their April Fool's Day post from AEW?
No, I did not.
About Excalibur. They said Excalibur will join Death Triangle to make it Death Square. I was like, you know what? I appreciate that they can take all the ribbing that we're giving them for the name and take all our jokes about it and be like, okay, we see you. Yeah, it sounds stupid. We get it.
You know what they need to do? They just need to only say the name in Spanish.
Yeah, it sounds awesome in Spanish. Yeah. De la Muerte?
Yeah, just only say it in Spanish. Just Perfect. Like the Death Ladder match. Just only say it in Spanish.
De la Muerte?
Yeah.
Death Ladder. And I'm like, no.
You could have just not told me what it meant, and I would have been like, yeah, man, this is great. Like, I don't...
This is badass. I know birthday means death, and that's good.
So, next, we get, which I immediately, when I first saw this, I thought they were taking a shot at Adam Cole's promo. Because if you remember on NXT, they kept building up that, oh, Adam Cole's going to show up on NXT. And then it was just like him, like in a pool back at home, like talking about his match. So I thought that was a shot at Adam Cole's promo when they first showed Chris Jericho. I was like, oh, I get it. It's a joke. But Then we get the best part, and that's V1, Vanguard 1, shows up at the abode of Jericho.
Hold on. Let me see if I can get the name they had for it. Wasn't it Palais de la Champion?
Maybe. I didn't hear that, so I don't even know.
In the bottom right-hand corner of Vanguard 1, it always has the location, and it said Palais de la Champion, parts unknown. Roughly translates to Palace of the Champion.
Yes. So Vanguard 1 shows up, to which Jericho responds, Vanguard 1, I knew you come. Then he says, no, seriously though. But I said some things last week. I'm glad you're here because I need to say I'm
and I hope I'm being clear enough when I say that. And I just look. I hope that now that it's just the two of us, nobody else is around. Matt's not here. We can have a conversation, just the two of us, and you don't have to be scared anymore. I want you to join the inner circle. I brought you a T-shirt.
To which he pulls out a tiny Vanguard 1 sized T-shirt and hangs it on the bottom of the drum.
And he goes, elbow to propeller, right?
To which V1 just starts flying away. Jerry goes, wait, come back!
You're thinking he stole my T-shirt!
Release the house! And these little tiny dogs come sprinting out of nowhere. Chasing after this freaking drone down the beach.
Who's his bottle of
Says, wait, come back. That little bastard stole my T-shirt. That was fantastic.
This segment and the Brody Lee segment may have been the best things that happened in wrestling this week.
That was great. That was fantastic. Again, Jericho showing his promo chops. He is definitely the best in the world when it comes to cutting promos. He can do it with a freaking drone by himself. That is amazing.
All right. So just to rewind for a minute, because I didn't actually do this justice when we were talking about the Brody Lee promo. We forgot that he opened up with a statement on COVID-19, which he verbatim copied Triple H's statement from NXT for a minute, staring directly into the camera. We're very sorry in a time like this, but we'd like to present you with an opportunity to take yourself away from the world, or whatever Triple H said. Brody Lee said it verbatim for the first 2 lines. This whole gimmick is so good. I'm a wrestling junkie. I love watching wrestling. Clearly I love watching wrestling because I abuse myself by watching Raw and SmackDown on occasion. But I want to watch this every week. We're 6 days away. I can't wait. It needs to be Wednesday now.
Yes. So, next, moving on, we get an update on Nick Jackson. So, it's Matt and Nick, actually. They're at their estate in Cucamonga, or Cucamonga, whatever their freaking name is.
Rancho Cucamonga, California.
Yeah, that.
Cucamonga.
Cowabunga, dude, whatever it's freaking called.
Where the hell they're from?
The hippie city, I don't know, whatever. And we find out that Matt Jackson's hey, it's been a little while since you've been in the ring. I want to make sure you don't got any rust. And since we can't go to a ring, I brought the ring to you. So, full-on Triple H style, what happened with Edge, just we brought a ring to Nick Jackson's house. So
I wonder if that's a shot. I didn't even think about that.
That'd be kind of low. I hope not. I mean, that's about a man coming back after being retired for 9 years. I hope that's not a shot, because that's a little low if it is. What I thought interesting is the fact that I need to know more about this in the sense that there's like a tennis court in their backyard, and it's like it almost looks like it's not like a house, but it's like, a shared area, like a complex type deal. And if that's the case, what did they tell their neighbors? Like, oh, so just so you know, we're putting a ring in the tennis court.
If I recall correctly, Nick Jackson, they have a very well-sized house and backyard, so it's possible.
To be fair, we saw Jericho's place, which that's massive, and he's got a freaking he's got a dock in his backyard, so.
First of all, Jericho was in WWE for almost 20 years, so that kind of pale do it. Most of his time was in WCW outside of that, and he has a rock and roll band.
But let's not pretend that Nick and Matt Jackson, by any stretch of the means, were not making very good money being the literal face of like 3 different wrestling companies. So they were by no stretch of the means not making fantastic money. Them, Cody, AJ when he was back in New Japan, like they were all making. Like they were making that guap, as Big Sean would say. So I would imagine that they're very well off. But it looked like it looked like a complex type deal where because the tennis court looked like it was maybe shared with other people. So I don't know. I'm just speculating. I'm obviously, who am I to get into somebody else's place of living? So.
I still live at home with Mom, so.
So yeah, they start working out, getting Nick Jackson back in ring shape. While this is happening, Matt's talking about what it was like when the attack happened on Nick Jackson. Nick explains that he has no memory of who or what happened. He doesn't even remember getting in the ambulance. He said that's the scariest part, that I have no recollection of what happened. And they both mentioned how it gives you, this really made you think, it made you reflect. Like any day could be your last. You got to live life to your fullest. And that's really a good message for what's happening in today, like what's happening presently with this whole COVID-19 nonsense. I mean, it's amazing how many parallels good wrestling has to real life. That's what it should be. So,
you know what this sadistic SOB got from that promo?
Oh God, what?
Matt did it. I think Matt Jackson is the one who attacked Nick Jackson. This is a little bit out of left field, but the thing that made me think about it was when he goes, it really makes you reflect on your life. Like, if something bad really happened to you, I would have been a singles wrestler for the rest of my life.
There's only one problem with that thought.
He doesn't say that's a bad thing.
There's one problem with that thought, and that's that Matt Jackson was out at the ring when that happened.
But Jericho said, I found him like this.
That would have mean, that would mean he would have been laid out for like a while.
5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, the blood had already gushed out of his face. It wasn't fresh. I mean, it was fresh, still wet, but it wasn't.
I feel like that's a stretch. I feel like it's almost pretty like confirmed that it was the inner circle at this point.
I bet you it's Matt Jackson.
Wouldn't
that be such a compelling storyline too? Matt Jackson, the one who's been acting like an asshole, the one who's been feuding with Hangman Page, the one who went after Kenny Omega. Maybe he snapped on his brother after the match because his brother wouldn't allow him to go to the full extent to take down Kenny and Hangman. I don't know.
It also means I'd have to watch Matt and Nick Jackson as single stars for months to potentially years, and as much as I would love to see that, I would rather just see them both turn heel, which is what I thought was going to happen originally, than see just one of them turn heel and the other. It's compelling, but that's not where I think this needs to go. I don't need to see the brother turn on brother gimmick again. That's been done to death. I don't need to see that.
I've never seen it before. Ever. I promise.
So
Kane and The Undertaker, Jeff and Matt Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
Cody and Dustin.
Yeah. Well, and then didn't that last forever, right? I mean, my God.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. It could be a short term thing where, 3 to 6 month run. Call it a day.
Hopefully not. But let's get on into the main event of Dynamite tonight, which was Sammy Guevara and my boy Shawn Spears versus.
Oh my God, he's on Dynamite!
He's on Dynamite. I'm so excited. My man's finally getting a match. Tag team match, but still a match. Versus Darby Allin and Cody. Great way to end the night. Fantastic match to go out on.
Left side of the bracket match.
Yes.
Face and face versus heel and heel.
Uh,
Teddy Long would be proud.
As always, again, I can't say enough about Sammy and Darby Allin, so I'm not even going to really talk a lot about them tonight. I'm going to focus on Cody and Shawn Spears. Shawn looked good. He didn't get a lot of offense in, so I can't really talk a lot about what he did. But he did a lot in terms of selling tonight, which that is another aspect of the business that doesn't often get talked about. But so you can easily say that he did his job and he looked great in what he was asked to do tonight. I mean, there were no clear botches. He didn't mess up anything. He was asked to perform a role, and I thought he did it pretty excellently. The comedy in this match, which you wouldn't think there would have been comedy, but it was fantastic from Sammy vlogging during the match and getting in, realizing who he's fighting, immediately tagging out Shawn Spears and going to hit on Brandy Rhodes, who takes his phone. There was one point where they start gambling. Him and Shawn Spears both start gambling mid-match on who can hold the longest stalling suplex. They go from 10 to 15 to 20 seconds. This is also, by the way, when you find out that Jimmy Havoc has just gone full-fledged heel because he's at the side just hanging with the heels. So I guess that's a thing now.
And then Cody got thrown out of the ring and Jimmy Havoc beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, all the heels at the side. Kip Sabian. Even, what's her name? Dr. Britt Baker got some offense on Cody.
I think one of my favorite spots from that match was actually earlier in the match, or before the match even started, comedy spots. Was they announced Shawn Spears, the self-proclaimed chairman, and Shawn looks at Cody and goes, "Do you remember? Huh? Do you?
Yep. I loved when Darby Allin hit a coffin drop there was like this weird pole on the outside of the ring. He like scales the pole.
Yeah, it was a support pole.
Yeah, and then coffin drop from from the top of the pole onto Shawn Spears and Sammy Guevara. That was fantastic.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing was getting that audio. Hey, bitches.
Yep. My only dislike was the fact that you went from, and this is in regards to Shawn Spears again, and the fact that when he first came into the company, and the fact that he made reference to it, and the fact that he was a viable competitor against somebody like Cody Rhodes. They had a very competitive match back and forth. And then now, the way he was used in this match tonight, while again, he played his role excellently, but he was almost made the bitch of the match. Every time it was him and Cody, it was a no contest. Cody got the advantage every single time, to the point where you'd have Shawn Spears like pleading and begging, like, no, Cody, don't do it. No, Cody, stop. No, please. And it's like, dude, this is a couple months ago. You were like swinging chairs at the back of his skull and trying to take out members of the Elite, and now you're just like begging for your mercy. Like, come on now. Like, that's my only complaint, is that you've turned Shawn Spears into total bitch mode. It annoys me. As for someone as talented as Shawn Spears, who's proven to be a loyal company guy, I mean, my God, how long was he in WWE before he finally decided, I should probably go somewhere else because they're not utilizing me correctly. So, as someone as loyal as he is, who's, he's a company guy, he's going to take the licks and he's going to do what he's told. I feel like he deserves a spot. He's been in the business for over 20 years. I think he's earned an opportunity, and it just seems like, when is it going to happen? That's my biggest problem with this.
I don't know. I feel like I agree with you on that, but to some extent, I feel like he looked really strong in the match. He got a lot of his technical wrestling over, which is good because before he got a little more flashy in WWE, he is mostly a technical guy. So I like to see that, and I like to see that there were no botches. Thank God.
Well, the only time he
I
got
don't need him sidelined for another 6 months.
well, the only time he got technical was after Cody got beat up on the outside. So he gets the advantage via shenanigans.
At the beginning of the match with the headlock and the side locks and stuff. I mean, I know it's collar and elbow and rest holds or whatever you want to call it.
If you can't do that stuff, then you shouldn't even be in the ring. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I think he looked better than he's looked previously. I mean, he had one bad match that really, really effed things up for him and put his career back probably 3 or 4 months. So, hopefully this is a sign that he's returned. I mean, he's on a 2-match winning streak. He
by the
does
way,
get the win.
By the way, the way this match ends is that Shawn Spears, the chairman that he is, when he gets Cody on the ropes, looks at Sammy and goes, "Give me a chair." Sammy goes, hands him a chair. Darby Allin snatches it out of his hands. And then when he's like throwing the chair out, Shawn Spears rose up Darby Allin for the pinfall victory. So that's how this match ends. And Darby is visibly frustrated. He's just puts his head in his hands. He's just all upset about it. And after Cody
goes to comfort him,
tries to console him, he's like shrugging him off, like, "Nah, man, I'm upset. I'm angry. And then Cody like tries to pick him up, and he gets clocked by Darby Allin. So I don't see this immediately. I mean, any casual wrestling fan's gonna immediately go, "Oh, Darby's turned heel. It's a switch. He's no longer like no. This is not a heel turn, guys."
That's the type of competitor he is. I mean, Steve Austin was the same way back in the day. He was a consistent face, except for the time that he sold out and went with Vince McMahon. He was a consistent face, and he'd turn and snap on guys, but that didn't make him a heel.
And it's also
made him frustrated.
You have to look at it too in the fact that these two are fighting each other in a week or two, so they are.
They both win their matches.
Yeah, so they're competitors, and at the end of the day, they both have the same goal. So it's emotional in the fact that you feel for Darby because he lost the match, and he lost it because he was trying to save Cody. So he's emotional in that fact. But you also feel for Cody in the fact that listening to how much Cody was building up Darby Allin last week on commentary, even comparing him to a young icon Sting. I mean, he has so much respect for this guy. And then also when you consider the fact that this is probably the second young prospect that has turned his back on Cody Rhodes. So that's just another layer of, oh my God, like another guy who I'm trying to give praise to and build up and take under my wing. That's what I get. Like, that's the thanks I get.
Nobody wants to work with me kind of thing.
Exactly. So it's another, you feel bad for both men. You feel more bad for Cody because of everything that's happened, but no one, I don't think, is the heel in this scenario. Darby Allin is not a heel.
Not yet.
No, at least not yet. Like, no one.
I will bet you this kind of thing. You had it with MJF. You have it with Darby Allin. It happens a couple more times. You might see Cody turn heel, and if you have never seen Cody as a heel, just wait.
I mean, hell, it almost seemed like he came into AEW with the intention of being heel, and he was just so massively red hot over that they made like a snap decision to be like, nope, you're face. I mean, we saw it with the Cody versus Dustin match. I mean, that moment solidified Cody as a forever baby face in most people's eyes. Like, you can't, at that point, you couldn't have Cody coming out and acting all heel and prima donna. You had to make him the babyface because everybody loved him for that, and also the fact that he's the guy. He is the guy that when it's like when Vince McMahon walks out and everyone's doing that, and like, you think about modern wrestling, you think to Vince McMahon, obviously. You think about the revolution in pro wrestling, you think of two men. If you're talking about the original Revolution, you're going to obviously think about Triple H with NXT. And if you're thinking about the newest Revolution with the creation of All Elite Wrestling, first thing that comes to mind, Cody Rhodes. So you have him to thank, and people are never going to forget that.
How many times have I had to correct myself when I'm talking about the owner of AEW?
Yeah.
I go, oh, wait, no, he's the EVP.
Exactly.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Tony Khan has done a fantastic job, and he's doing a really good job working with creative, working with his EVPs, getting the best show out there. But when you think AEW, you think Cody Rhodes.
Exactly, yes. So that's obviously the reason why they're like, nope, we gotta make him a babyface. It was even, I thought for a minute they were gonna kind of do what, even referencing again Triple H, what they did with him, and the fact that on NXT he's the creator, he's the good guy. He comes out and he presents you this amazing content, and then when he goes back to the main roster, he's the head of the authority, battling Seth Rollins for the world title. So I could have seen them going that route too, but obviously they didn't want a storyline like that. Could, and this is not to insult the fans or say that wrestling fans are dumb or anything, but you don't want your storylines to be overly convoluted, and something like that is almost confusing for the average wrestling fan because you go, wait, am I supposed to cheer or boo this man? So I have tremendous respect for him, but I also hate his guts. How does that work? Which,
like, I hate the guy who's in the ring, but I like the guy who presents these matches. Like,
yeah,
I get that.
So,
I know what you're saying. I think, well, you know what? I don't even think. I hope we get a true Cody heel run.
Oh, we most certainly will at some point.
I mean, if any of you've seen what he did with the Ring of Honor, it was.
I mean, here's my thing. We definitely need at some point to have a Cody heel, like a true run as a heel, but I don't think it needs to be soon. I mean, the company's not even a year old yet. Let it breathe. Let, Cody have a run as, the top babyface. Let him do his thing. And then I think you could wait on this. This needs to marinate. This isn't something where you just immediately snap like that, because that's also a problem in wrestling, is that people flip-flop. You don't want the Big Show effect, where is he a face? Is he a heel? Where does it go? What am I today? I'm crazy. Like, you don't want that.
They released on Netflix the Big Show.
It's the joke with Kevin Owens.
They released the Big Show on Netflix, and everyone's saying, just wait until he turns heel on his family. Next day he wakes up and they're cheering him. So, match of the night for AEW for you.
So my match of the night is the opening match. That took the cake. Trent versus Kenny Omega, and I don't think anything really had a chance in hell of comparing to that match. That was fantastic. It was not just the best match on the show, but it rivals the triple threat match from NXT as the best match of the night, I'd say.
Right. I'm going to also go with that match. My second, because there's nothing else close, but my second actually is the Archer Marco Stunt match. I love Lance Archer. I love Lance Archer. I really do.
I'm almost afraid to ask. MVP.
Brody Lee.
Okay.
I was going to go with Lance Archer, but by God, that promo, Brody Lee.
Okay, so
sorry, it's 3 weeks late, Brody.
So my MVP is going to be Trent, because I expect greatness from Kenny Omega, and while I expect great things from Trent, I did not expect near 20-minute masterpiece that was this match. And again, it takes two to tango, and Trent, my man, you blew me away tonight. So, and again, you're not even just the MVP. If it was up to me, if we did show him like night MVPs, I would put him up there as MVP of the night, because of everybody that wrestled and competed tonight, you did the most with what you were given. So fantastic job, Trent.
With everything he's battling in his real life right now, fight mode fighter of the night, to even just be out there, Marco Stunt.
Yeah, can't argue with that.
Anyways, so what was your show of the night?
Well, this is difficult, because one match had Shotzi Blackheart winning matches for 35 minutes. one show had Lance Archer fight Marco Stunt.
For 5 minutes.
For 5 minutes, yes. And then also we got 8 and 9 versus the what is it, the Natural Nightmares.
That was another 5 minutes.
So, it's difficult because I really hated those latter two things. And while I hated the Shotzi Blackheart thing, I also respect it. So, this is difficult. If I have to compare the best matches on each show, again, you've got the last match from NXT versus the opening match from AEW Dynamite. And it's kind of weird because it seemed like NXT was like trending upwards as the show went on, while like AEW almost like, I don't want to say went down, but it kind of did this a little bit.
Yeah, it did the roller coaster effect.
So I have to give the show of the night to NXT simply due to the fact that, one thing, it didn't make me like get up and reevaluate my existence as a wrestling fan for a good 5 minutes. So, and again, I mean, I know I'm, not to take shots, but I mean, it is what it is. And again, I do understand what everything that Marco Stunt is going through in real life, IRL, obviously, but just in terms storyline perspective, in ring, I hated it, and I'm sorry, I just really did. So I'm gonna go with NXT as my show of the night, based on the fact that for the most part, NXT was a really good show, and AEW was not bad. This isn't me saying AEW put on a bad show; it just did a little bit of this guy. So that's why NXT is my show of the night. Nick?
Yeah, this was a difficult week. And you don't hear that from me very often. It was NXT put on a fantastic show. Put on 2 matches that I gave a shit about. 35 minutes worth of Shotzi Blackheart, which made me want to die. A match between 2 people I've never heard of before in my life. AEW gave me two pretty bad matches. Well, one exorbitantly bad match and one match that you could argue is either really bad or just happens to be the way the cookie crumbled. I'm gonna go with AEW. I don't know. I don't have the disdain for the Lance Archer and Marco Stunt match that you do. I was impressed by the debut of Anna Jay in comparison to the re-debut of the one guy from a NXT and the debut or re-debut of whoever the F he was facing, Jake Atlas or whatever. The debuts were better in AEW. The best match, in my opinion, was better. It was a work rate match. The promo work was better. Shotzi Blackheart is not in AEW, so that's a plus. See, this is a tough one. It really is, because what it boils down to is NXT did not give me a bunch of content that I cared about this week. It gave me a triple threat match that I was very invested in. It gave me a gauntlet match that I already knew the answer to. It gave me a double dev match and a Velveteen Dream match that's literally, I mean, if anybody thought Velveteen Dream was losing, you're wrong. So, I guess you could say the same thing.
Same thing about Kenny and Trent. Yeah, very much so. Yes.
And you could probably say the same. Well, you definitely say the same thing about Marco Stunt. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, I knew Dakota Kai was winning. I knew Velveteen was winning.
That's 2 matches.
And that's
there were 2 on AEW. Yeah. The difference is one is like exorbitantly more so than the other. In the fact that at least in the Velveteen Dream Bobby match and in the Dakota Kai match, it's not like one person getting absolutely demolished compared to the Lance Archer and Marco Stunt match, which is literally just, again, why? So
That's fair. That's fair. But in the case of, Kenny and Trent, or, I mean, NXT arguably did a third time with Kushida and Joaquin Wilde, which, if you thought Joaquin Wilde was winning, also no. I don't know. I just, as much as I loved this week of pro wrestling, it was also kind of meh. Like, the wrestling was meh outside of like 2 or 3 matches, really. What probably takes the cake for AEW is it made me laugh. Like the Brody Lee segment, the Mr. Brody segment, and Jericho with Vanguard 1. I mean, like, outside of that, like, AEW put on 2 good matches, NXT put on 2 good matches, and everything else was kind of bollocks.
I guess it's how you look at it. Again, when I talked about NXT, I did not think the Kushida Joaquin Wilde match was bad because the in-ring action wasn't bad. Joaquin Wilde significantly improved from what little we saw of him. Again, you can't make a judgment on how bad or good he was from what you saw, but this match went about 10 minutes long, and it was a good match. I mean, they went back and forth. This isn't like, I don't think this was a 2-match show for NXT as you're making it seem like. I think you definitely had more than just those original 2 matches that were qualifying this as a good show.
It was a 2-match show both ways, but they both had an underlying half-good match. The Kushida Joaquin Wilde match and the Hikaru Shida Anna Jay match were both good, but not great.
But just because a match not every match has to be like 5-star fantastic. Sometimes having just good wrestling is enough for me.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Okay, so then each of them was a 3-match show.
Well,
the rest is bollocks.
But again, also, I'm not looking at. Let's even take it a step further. I don't hate. I mean, as much as I hate Shotzi Blackheart, I don't think the in-ring action in that gauntlet match was bad. It was not a bad match. The entirety of the match was. The entirety of the match was fine. Yeah, if it was anybody else besides Shotzi Blackheart getting put over, you would have said it was a fine match. It wasn't a bad match. The wrestling was fine.
Okay.
I mean, just take the name Shotzi Blackheart out of it, and it's not a bad match at all. So,
I mean,
I don't
know. I'm really excited to see Deonna Purrazzo, Aaliyah, Xia Li in a match. Like, I don't care. None of them had a chance.
But it's the fact that the in-ring action wasn't bad, though. So if you're quantifying it simply on, what astonishes me is that
I'm going to watch that, I would rather watch Tiny Marco Stunt get thrown around the ring for 10
What
minutes.
astonishes me is the fact that as a guy that always likes to talk about how quality in-ring action is, you routinely often sometimes ignore the quality of wrestling just because you don't like the person that's in the match.
To be honest, I don't see Shotzi's style as good. I mean, it's arguable, though. I mean, like, I don't love when Randy Orton's in the ring. It's not because I don't like Randy Orton. I love Randy Orton. It's not the 90s. It's not.
Well, first of all, what does the 90s have to do with Shotzi Blackheart?
No, that's my example for Randy Orton. It's just, I don't know, she doesn't hit any, like, she's not flippy. She's not particularly technical. She's not big, strong, swole Bianca Belair.
Okay, but what
is she?
But is Jon Moxley flippy or technical or big swole? No.
He's a brawler.
Yeah, he's a brawl. He's a fighter. Is that not Shotzi Blackheart?
I don't get that. She made 3 people tap out.
Yeah.
2 people.
As John Moxley has a submission that he's been using for months now. Come on.
That's a naked choke. That's something you would do in a fight. You wouldn't go into a backslide a fight.
But look at what she's doing. She's just like it's just like some random creative finisher, because her whole gimmick is that, from what I'm gathering, is that she's like just different. She's out there. It's like the Jeff Hardy thing. It's like what's he gonna do next? The only difference between Jeff Hardy and her is that she's not like we don't know if she's the extreme risk taker that Jeff Hardy is, because we haven't seen her in those type of matches. But I'm gathering that's kind of where they're going with her, is that she's like the just kind of out there crazy person.
I guess. I guess. I mean, look, it wasn't. It wasn't a throwaway match, but it was 35 minutes long.
Yeah, and that's
something go for 35 minutes. I don't need Shotzi Blackheart to be there for all 35 of it.
But I guess that's my biggest thing with it, is the fact that it is 35 minutes. Because, again, whether you dislike the person or not, you have to respect the fact that she was able to go for the entirety of the match. She looked pretty good while doing it. And whether, again, you agree with whether they got the idea of her being over through with this match or not, I mean, we can debate that all day, because she's not over for me personally, but her as a wrestler, as someone that I now have respect for in the ring, whereas before I did not, they accomplished that goal, because before I didn't think she even deserved to be in the same ring as most of these women in NXT. Now at least I can go, okay, show me what you got. I mean, you're not out here botching every move that you do in the ring anymore.
Well, look, I have respect for her stamina, and I will say that she's improved, but I'm not going to sit here and say that I think she deserved 35 minutes of spotlight. I think that she should have been eliminated by the second or third person, give somebody else a little bit more time in the spotlight, because honestly, she's not that talented.
Should I give like Aaliyah the spotlight? Because that's like that. Because that was my thing. That was the third person. If you're gonna give it to somebody,
I don't even know what you do at that point. Because to be honest with you, like, beyond the 5 people who are already in the ladder match and Dakota Kai, Bianca Belair is like your only other talent, right?
No. I mean, I don't. If you're talking about who they pushed, you definitely could have maybe put Xia Li in, because she has a relatively strong status on the roster.
I meant real talent, not just, I'm Xia Li, therefore.
But that's my thing, is that like Xia Li definitely, if you're so gung ho on it not being Shotzi, then they could have had her lose to Tiana Purrazzo, or they could have her beat Deonna and then immediately lose to Xia Li, and then have Xia Li go on to.
And I was okay with that.
But
have Xia Li go on and then lose to Dakota Kai, or even lose to Caden Cross and then Caden Cross lose to Dakota Kai.
I guess my whole thing is my initial anger at the fact that, she was beating all these women has subsided, and now I just have nothing but reflection, and I go, it wasn't bad. They accomplished what they needed to accomplish, and the fact that now I have respect for her in the ring. And again, nothing she did in the ring was bad. I mean, while nothing was like it's particularly amazing in any sense, but not, again, I of the mindset not everything has to be great when you're first starting out in the business. As long as it's like it's just good. Sometimes you can be okay with something just being okay. And that's my thing. When there are more things that's my whole reason for NXT being over. And again, you don't hate the Marco Stunt match like I have the sheer undying hatred for that match even being created.
And you don't have the disdain for the women's gauntlet match that I do.
Well, but what you said, you don't. From what I gather, you don't even hate the match. You're just like questioning
no,
what.
I just hate Shotzi Blackheart being in a ring for 35 minutes.
I guess my thing is that, again, it's the fact that I can hate. I don't like Shotzi Blackheart. I never have. I probably never will. But it's the fact that I have respect for the art. I always think back to wrestling as an art, as a craft, and I have respect for the fact that she was able to go out and perform her craft for 35 minutes and put on again an okay match. That's my whole thing. The reason I hate the Marco Stunt match is because there's no redeeming qualities for it in my view. There's nothing that I go, wow, there's something that I can get from this that's going to. The only thing I get is that they did it because of what's going on IRL, and then I can respect that, but that doesn't mean that I have to like what I saw creation-wise.
But this is the other thing. For it being short, it didn't have a true squash feel until the finish. To me.
That is my biggest issue with it, because it should have a squash feel. It's Marco Stunt fighting Lance Archer. That should not be a competitive match. That should be...
AEW doesn't want to put on just these absolute squashes. They want everyone to at least have the ability to fight.
So now I have this idea in my head that Marco Stunt can get on a somewhat competitive match out of Lance Archer. That's the idea I want to compel to people.
Why not? Rey Mysterio was a world champion.
Rey Mysterio, how dare you, first of all, how dare you try to compare Rey Mysterio to Marco Stunt? Rey Mysterio, first of all, isn't even that short. He's short compared to the behemoths that are in WWE. But Rey Mysterio is 5'9". He's not a tiny person, first of all. Second, he is one of the best in the world at what he does in terms of luchador wrestling. So let's not even try to compare Marco Stunt to Rey Mysterio. That is the third strike him down. Strike where he stands.
Now, this is one thing, and I will say this, I will admit this, and you can hold me to this. If AEW in the future starts doing true squash matches to their talent, not jobbers, to their talent, then I'm wrong. But so far, I haven't seen them truly squash their own talent.
I guess that's another thing that I disagree with, because we have seen true squash matches. You've seen Jake Hager have true squash matches. He obliterated QT Marshall. It wasn't close at all. He absolutely demolished him.
He got a little bit of offense in.
He got about the same amount of offense as freaking Marco Stunt tonight.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't a true squash. They got a little bit of offense in.
I would disagree. I would think that QT Marshall match.
Braun Strowman rolling through Dolph Ziggler, hitting him with 3 moves, and then pinning.
Here's the thing, though. QT Marshall, now that I recall even more, QT Marshall I think he got 3 or 4 moves on Jake before Jake put him away. It was long.
Anybody got in on Braun?
You just said Dolph got like 3 moves.
Braun hit 3 or 4 and then pinned him.
No. I guess, I mean, it's whatever, but no, we have seen.
I mean, any case that we have a squash match, apparently it won't matter because people didn't like the Braun storyline, and people don't like that they're not doing squash matches with Lance Archer, so we're just not going to be happy ever because we're wrestling fans and we want 2 things at once.
Again, you're mischaracterizing my point. I said earlier that Braun Strowman, for the first 6 months of it, not even 6 months, maybe 4 or 5 months, he was literally facing nobodies. He didn't start doing the Dolph Ziggler squashes until after he started having matches with people like a Roman Reigns. So Jake
squash matches, right?
People don't like people. I'm talking about me. I don't care about what people want. Nick, I think you know this by now. I don't, because if I care about what people want, I'd be over here singing the praises of somebody like a Shotzi Blackheart, who's apparently over with the NXT universe. So clearly, it doesn't matter to me what these people think. I'm talking about what I care about. And Cameron Grimes, yes. So don't ever confuse me for the average wrestling fan.
That's just So you want true squashes, is what you're saying?
I think
full
I
squash.
I think there's a place in wrestling for squash matches. Yes, as long as they're not against random jobbers, because I think you have to make somebody look strong, and you don't look strong by beating up on random unnamed talent number 3. What makes you look strong is beating up against people that actually matter. Perfect example that comes to mind: Great Khali. When he first came in, you talked about this a couple weeks ago. One of your fondest memories of SmackDown was the Great Khali coming on and destroying the Undertaker. Like, that doesn't happen. That's the kind of thing that puts you in someone's mind and goes, wow, I immediately care about that guy. I don't get that feeling from watching Braun beat up random enhancement talent or watching Lance Archer beat up a Marco Stunt. I don't get that same value from that. That's my point.
Yeah. See, the only thing I think, and this is just from the mind of, a master booker like myself, I never want to make any of my talent look weak, except for Brock Lesnar. So I will do everything I can to not allow a true squash like that.
I just think that's the everybody wins mindset. And I'm sorry, but that's just not what the business is about. Everybody, you have to lose. You can't just have
50-50 booking. I'm okay if you lose all the time, but at least do good while you're doing. Like, my thing is, if you're gonna go out there and lose consistently and be a jobber, be the 1-2-3 kid. The 1-2-3 kid who finally wins a match after, years and years and years and years of jobbing, or be someone who goes out there like, oh God, what's his name? Heath Slater. Perfect example of a good jobber.
Right, but it doesn't make it 50-50 booking to have someone just lose to someone who you're pushing up the card, because that's just how the business works. Everyone gets their L at a certain point. Right,
but what you're trying to say is like that I want them to, everyone looks strong, nobody loses kind of thing. I'm okay. Everyone's going to get losses. That's fine. I just don't want their character to be diminished because of something. Now, in a case like Marco Stunt and Lance Archer, yeah, you could have done the squash match because
that's why. See, again, that's where you're mischaracterizing my arguments, because I'm not saying that you should have complete squash matches against people that matter. I'm not saying it should be Lance Archer destroying someone the likes of like a Darby Allin or something, but I'm saying that it should be someone with a little bit more merit than Marco Stunt. It can still be, again, a jobber. Again, I mentioned this earlier, AEW is filled with people that have horrible records on their show that have been designated as the loser. So you can have matches against people like that that are just complete squash matches that you're not concerned about it affecting their character because they lose all the time anyway.
Peter Avalon?
Yeah, people like that. I mean, even
actually, I think I'd rather have Marco Stunt than Peter Avalon.
Even someone like a QT Marshall, who we brought up in our episode with Griffin last week, has one of the worst records in AEW right now. He could easily destroy someone like that, kind of like how Jake Hager destroyed him, and I wouldn't... that in no way diminishes his character, because what is his character? I'm friends with Dustin Rhodes and I lose every week? That's his character. So...
No. He's a wrestling trainer. That's
what he is. That is not a character. That is what he is, Nick.
No, it's his character.
My point exactly. So that's what I'm saying. You don't have to like full on. What I don't need is I'll use the WWE example. I don't need someone like what they did to Eric Young. I don't need Eric Young getting squashed, or what they did with Matt Hardy. I don't need someone like that getting absolutely buried. That does nothing. And to your point, that would affect and hurt somebody's character going forward. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you bring someone... Hell, I'll bring Dolph Ziggler back into this. What the hell has Dolph Ziggler done for years now except lose and lose and lose? It does not hurt his character to have Braun Strowman go out there and absolutely demolish him, because nobody cares. And that's kind of his role at this point, is to go out and put up, that he might have a chance because he is a former world champion, so he's good
at what he does.
Yeah, he's got a shot in every match. So that's my thing. Get someone that has a shot in every match, but they're gonna lose. They're gonna get beat badly.
we can count out Brandon Cutler, Peter Avalon, Marco Stunt, and maybe QT Marshall. He's done okay in the ring.
Yes.
Kip Sabian, but we're building him.
Are we? Because didn't he lose his last match?
Yeah, but it was against Darby, and Darby is the god of wrestling apparently. So,
well, yeah. So he'd be losing to people that get rocket ship strapped to them, and that's Darby Allin in this case. So, and that would be Lance Archer in that other case.
I mean, I just don't know who you'd have him lose to. I mean, yes, QT Marshall is a better pick than Marco Stunt. I'm not going to dispute that with you. But I mean, like guys like Marshall, guys like Cutler, guys like Avalon, guys like Stunt, like actually Marco Stunt probably is the best record out of the four of those people.
Yikes. Yeah, that's the scary part. No, I look at it as like this. If you, again, I talked about this in the beginning. If you want his first match to be disrespectful and be someone that doesn't matter, then yeah, you start him off with somebody I think like a Cutler, someone who you know is just, you're not afraid to absolutely bury. Then the next time he wrestles, then you'd put him into someone like a QT Marshall, someone you're increasing the level. Like it has to progress and get somewhere where like, okay, I see, like he's going through, but he's fought people that have a name, someone that I go, well, you know, QT Marshall's not bad in the ring. He's a wrestling trainer. He's got years of experience, so you know where he's going. Then the next time I'd probably have him fight someone, if you ever stop pushing Colt Cabana, I'd have him fight somebody like a Colt Cabana or someone like of that, like someone who has had a good to decent record in AEW, so this match actually matters. I wouldn't have him. At that point, you're not doing squash matches. You're having, I wouldn't say competitive matches, but you're having matches that go longer than like 2-3 minutes. Now you're maybe getting into the 5-7 minute length where like, you know, he's not struggling to put them away, but it's like, okay, I gotta actually like put some effort into this to win this match. And then you keep progressing every time he's in a match until finally you get to that ascent, that to the height of heights where now you're fighting people like Kenny Omega and Cody, and you're putting on the full-on 5-6 star classics where this dude had, I have to work my ass off to get a victory in this match, and that's the way it should be. So, that was the Wednesday Night Wars for this week. Obviously very controversial, at least here in the Wrevolution fam. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about anything that I or Nick said tonight, or your thoughts on the matches. Do you agree or disagree? Do you think I'm an ass clown and everything I said was completely false and I'm just being...
Hey now, don't take Jericho's line.
Yep. Or do you agree with me? Do you think that Nick is just being inherently blasphemous and needs to be struck by lightning? So,
one more point. This is going to be another one of those fortune-telling, future teller, the premonition things. Anna Jay will be a women's champion within the next 10 years.
Well, I got nothing to say because you made your freaking prediction like almost to the point of like, well, I can't be wrong because at some point the devil gets his due. So yeah, the next 10 years, pretty wide margin there.
I can shorten the margin when I see her in the ring in a match that she's not gonna obviously lose.
I mean, for God's sake, there's only like 10 women on the roster anyway. I mean, hell, you might as well say within the next year.
I think she's extremely talented. I think she's going to win a women's championship. The only reason I say 10 years is because you have a lot of dominant women on that roster, and there's a lot of women on the dark roster and some not so great women on the Dynamite roster who are working on progressing themselves up. So I don't know how well received the younger upstart Anna Jay would be and how quickly they'll strap the rocket ship onto her at some point. Ideally, it'd be within the next 3 years, but I'm not perfect, so I'll say within the next 10.
Okay, so Wrevolution Pro Wrestling Podcast is available only on YouTube as for now until this whole COVID-19 mess is addressed. Although if you want to go ahead and follow us on the iTunes, the Skype, the Google Play Podcast, and the Podbean, so that when this whole mess is over, you will be able to listen to us on the go wherever your location is via audio. As well, our social media links are down in the description below. We are on Twitter, Facebook, as well as our own personal Twitters and Nick's Instagram. So make sure to go and follow us on all those platforms, as well as make sure you subscribe to join the Wrevolution here on YouTube. Make sure you hit the little notification bell that's up at the top. And without any further ado, I've been Marcus White, live from Studio 6.
Am Le Champion. Fight Mode, Nick Cavalli, live from the spare bedroom.
And as always,
live after WrestleMania 36. That's the show that's too big for one night.
I'm gonna have some thoughts about that. You think I went on a rant tonight? Just you wait.
Have you seen the "I wasn't there" T-shirt?
Yikes! So
yeah.
Thank you guys for watching, and as always, we invite you to join the Wrevolution.
Join the Wrevolution. Good night, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for staying with us through all this, Revolutionaries.
Have a great night, guys.